Hello and welcome, everyone. We're so glad that you are joining us for this special YouTube live session all about the Sugarcreek Amish Mysteries. Whether you're a longtime fan of the series, or you're just now discovering the charm of Sugarcreek, you're in the right place. Today session, we are diving into the heart of Amish country, where faith, whether you're a longtime fan of the series, keep us coming back for more. Or you're just now discovering the charm of Sugarcreek, grab your favorite drink place and get ready. Today session, we are diving into the heart of Amish country, where faith, whether you're a longtime fan today. We're going to start today by introducing one of the authors that the movie Sugarcreek Amish Mysteries Blessings in Disguise is based on. Nancy Mehl is the best-selling author of over 50 books. She's won the Daphne du Maurier Award, as well as the ACFW Mystery Book of the Year Award and a Carol Award. She's also a finalist for the prestigious Christie Award. Her short story, Chasing Shadows, was in the USA Today best-selling anthology, Summer of Suspense. To learn more about Nancy, you can visit her website at www.nancymehl.com or on her blog at Suspense Sisters, www.suspensesisters.blogspot.com. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you. And now I want to introduce you. Elizabeth Ludwig is a USA Today best-selling author and speaker, often attending conferences where she lectures on editing for fiction writers, crafting effective novel proposals, and conducting successful editor and agent interviews. Along with many other books, Elizabeth wrote Where Hope Dwells, which is one of the books the movie Sugarcreek Amish Mysteries, Blessings in Disguise is based on. She was also honored to be awarded a Holt Medallion for her novel, A Tempting Taste of Mystery. I love that title. Another book in the Sugarcreek Amish Mystery series from Guideposts. To learn more, visit elizabethludwig.com. Hi.
Hi, old friend. How are you? So good to see you.
I'm doing okay. You too. You know, it's funny, we were talking about this, that we have known each other forever online.
Yes.
But to finally get to see each other and talk to each other is just really a blessing. And I'm very excited about it. I'm very happy to share this movie with you.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. It is an honor, and I am excited and just thrilled that now not only are we sharing it with each other, we're going to get to share it with the world. It's awesome.
It is. And I tell you what, let's start off with some questions, okay?
Sure.
All right. The first one is, what inspired you to write the Sugarcreek Amish Mysteries series?
Okay. I don't know about you, Nancy, but I get asked this question so much.
Yeah.
I wrote 6 of the books for the Sugarcreek Amish Mysteries series. And I have to say, I think it was the charm of Sugarcreek combined with like the deep rooted values of that community. I think that's what inspired me to write them. I was drawn to a place where life just moves a little bit slower, where people are encouraged to lean into their faith and where hope always finds a way to bloom. I think, even in the midst of a mystery, I think Sugarcreek was just the perfect setting for us to explore themes like healing and faith and second chances, all while weaving together these cozy, heartwarming mysteries that reflect the strength and the resilience of the human spirit.
That's a great answer. And as authors, when we write mystery and suspense, we are really pitting good against evil in some form or fashion. And an Amish community is the perfect place to be able to do that, because good is already established in these wonderful, gentle people that we got to learn so much about. And I love that. I just think the whole series is really special.
I couldn't agree more. You wrote the very first novel in the Sugarcreek Amish Mysteries, and it shares the title of your book shares the title with the movie Blessings in Disguise. So what do you think was your favorite part about writing that story, writing about Cheryl and about Sugarcreek?
Well, I liked, we talked about the setting, which I loved, but also I liked the fact that Cheryl needed to grow. She needed a place to go after a bad breakup. And her healing process is something I think that every reader can relate to.
Absolutely.
I mean, whether you're Amish or English, we all go through the same things. And so I love that part of it, that it wasn't just the mystery. It wasn't even just the setting. It was a progression of healing and maybe even focusing herself on different things that became more important to her as she spent time in Sugarcreek.
Yeah. Yeah. When I wrote my book, I was just coming through a very difficult time. There was a lot of pain, a lot of disappointment. And so writing Cheryl's story and the struggles that she was going through after this bad breakup, watching how she grew emotionally and spiritually, that was healing for me. I think as we watched Cheryl kind of navigating life's uncertainties, it was just incredibly rewarding and healing
Right.
to me to see her
Right.
find her strength, her purpose, and really healing in some unexpected ways.
Right.
I think, and I agree, Sugarcreek is more than just this charming backdrop. I think it evolved into its own character, and it became a symbol of like community and faith and belonging. I think that bringing that transformation to the page in both Cheryl and the town around here, that was truly a joy.
I agree with that. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask another question. How did you? Oh, I know my answer to this question. How did you feel when you found out that it would be a movie?
Oh gosh, that was just like, that was a surreal, just extremely exciting moment, like a true pinch me moment. It was just this powerful feeling of validation, I think, knowing that the story and the characters, that there was this potential that they were just going to reach this wide audience and touch even more people through the film. That was just so incredibly exciting. And I think seeing the heart of Sugarcreek and Cheryl's journey coming to life on the screen, that's just been so humbling and so deeply rewarding.
Right. Well, my reaction was, I can't scream real
Yes.
loud. But the first time you found out, was that when I got a hold of you and told you?
Yes.
Was it? Oh, that was
Yes.
neat. Yeah, that was great to do that.
Yes. And I
Wow.
and I have to say I had to stop and read. I didn't respond to you right away. I kept reading
Oh,
that
really?
going, does that mean what I think it means?
I think you did send me back something like, what? It wasn't like, what did you say? But you were trying to make certain that you understood. It was so funny. That was really neat. Well, and seeing your characters actually come to life is,
Mhm.
it's just an experience. It's really hard to put into words. And for a writer, that's really saying something, you know?
Absolutely. And I've had just a kind of a little glimpse of that when the audio, I've had some of my books have been made into audiobooks and
Oh,
you got to
yeah.
hear the characters' voices, but now seeing them with, come to life with personality and seeing their faces, which I think they did a wonderful job with this cast. They are so
I was
perfect for
going to
their
say
roles.
that.
It's
Yeah,
just incredible.
I totally agree with that. And please do not get after me if I say this wrong, but Galadriel
Mhm.
Steinman is so perfect in this
Mhm.
role.
Yes.
And Kevin Joy is, I guess, her real life husband.
Mhm.
And I don't know if a faith based film, it's okay to say hunky, but he's so good. He's so good. He's so cute. And it's funny because I wrote Levi with blonde hair, which of course he doesn't have. He has dark hair, but he's perfect, just perfect for the role.
Yeah,
And Naomi, how could she be more perfect too?
I
The
agree. I agree.
other thing, the other character I have to bring up is Bo, the cat. In my book, he was Siamese, but in this, he's not. He is so good. What a good cat. I mean,
Yes.
he got all his lines right, and he was just perfect. So they did a wonderful job. I don't know how they could have picked better actors for this movie.
Yes. Yes. Well, this series has just been so popular. What,
Mhm.
Nancy, what do you think makes the world of Sugar Creek so special for readers and now for viewers? What is it about these books that just appeal to readers?
I think I just said this earlier, we're all the same. And we're all looking for some peace. We're all looking for some contentment. And in the busy world we have, it's just like, do this, do that. You got your cell phone, you got this, you got that. And to go to Sugar Creek and just enjoy the community and the peacefulness, the real feeling of community there.
Mhm.
I mean, I love the fact that the Amish reach out to the English reach back. There's not a separation, between them. Naomi and Cheryl become such good friends. It's the place where we all want to live. Let's be let's be honest. I mean, I do anyway. I'd love to live there,
I
and I
agree.
think it appeals to everybody.
I agree. And we've been fortunate to get a little preview of the movie. And some of the scenery, the cinematography is
Beautiful.
just outstanding. It's so beautiful. And it certainly brings home that sense of peace and purpose that the
Hmm.
people in that community experience. I think in a world that can just be so stressful and chaotic and uncertain, I think that Sugar Creek stands out as a place where it's built on trust. It's built on kindness and faith, which is so deeply rooted in that community. It's a town where people look out for one another, and
I agree.
I think that that's just so appealing to fans of the series. And even when they're in the midst of a mystery, there's this comfort in belonging, and
Hmm.
I think that's just what appeals to so many people, and what has made this series so vastly popular.
I agree. I agree with that. So, what are you most excited for fans to see in the movie?
Well,
For
like
me, it's my name at the beginning. No, I'm just
we say that, it's true.
kidding. That
It,
sounds really egotistical. Anyway, I've
but
never
it's
had that
true.
before.
It's
Yeah, I
true.
know. I
It's a
know.
first for us, so I'm for some grace, please, because it is a first and it is just thrilling.
Exactly.
I'm excited to see how beautifully the cast and the crew brought this story to life. I mean, it especially like the emotional depth that these actors are bringing to these characters and this warm, genuine sense of community. I think it just shines through
I do
every
too.
part of this film, and seeing the characters come alive. I touched on that just a minute ago, but seeing them come alive in such a heartfelt and authentic
Mhm.
way, that's just so special. I can't wait for
It is.
fans to experience the spirit of the books in this whole new light.
I agree. And humor. There's some humor
Yes,
in it too. I think they're
yes.
going to really
Oh, there were a
enjoy.
couple of places I laughed out loud.
Me too. Me too. I think it's got it all. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So now we did talk about this a little bit, and we couldn't quite remember. That's one of the things I have to say. As I get older, my memory's not what it used to be.
I
But
hear you.
Nancy, have you ever visited Sugar Creek? And if you have, what's the first thing you did when you got there?
Oh my, it's hard. It's been a while. Um, I think the very first thing we did, well, I think we drove around and looked around a little bit, but the first place we went, I have to talk about this place, was the Honey Bee Cafe.
Mhm.
I loved that place. Kathy Snyder, now Kathy Kimball, ran the restaurant, and she was so kind and welcoming. I had a book signing there. People came in. I got to meet people in the community. I love that. And then I also have to say, we went to see the giant cuckoo clock, which is so cool, so cool. We also went to the cheese factory, and I had no idea there were that many kinds of cheese. I mean, seriously, if I have Swiss, American, and cheddar, I've really branched out. But there are all kinds of cheeses there. And I wish we could have been there longer because I would like to have experienced more of it. I'd like to go back for an entire week, but I loved it. And I want to say one other thing too. Our incredible editor, Susan Downs, who I love with all my heart, and Joanne Simmons were there with us. And they walked us not only through the process of writing the books, but they helped us experience Sugar Creek as well. And I will always appreciate that. I love you, Susan. I love you, Joanne.
Yes, they are amazing people, and they were so wonderful to work with. So yeah, I definitely agree with you, Nancy. I also had the pleasure of visiting Sugar Creek for a book signing, but we couldn't remember if it was the same book
I
signing,
know.
and then
I
decided
know.
no, they were separate occasions. But yes, I did get to. And the very first thing that I did when I got there was that big sign as you're coming into Sugar Creek that says welcome to Sugar. I had to get a picture
Yes.
there, so that was the
Yes.
very first thing that I did.
Good for
But
you.
then I kind of like to think of myself as a little bit of a foodie. And so I wanted to visit all the, we talk about these plate size
Uh-huh.
cereals and of course the
Oh,
cheese. That's
yeah.
I think one of the books is titled Blessed Are the Cheesemakers.
Yes.
You know, we talk about food a lot in these series. And so I had to sample all of this wonderful Amish cooking. And so, I went to, like you, I visited some of the local cheese shops. I visited the cuckoo clock, all of the touristy things, of course, but it's the smells, the flavors, all of those
Oh,
friendly faces.
absolutely. Yeah.
All of that just adds to the experience. So Sugarcreek, if you've never been there, I want to say to anyone who's watching, it is just as delightful in real life as it is in the pages of our books. And being there just really truly deepened my love for the books and for the setting.
Right. I agree with that. Okay. Now, any advice for aspiring writers who might be watching?
Yes. um, I think one of the things that surprises me is how many people come up to me and say, "Oh, you wrote a book?" I wrote a book. Like,
I know. Or I'm going to write a book.
I've always wanted to write a book. I'm like, no, it's a lifetime of homework.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
My advice, oh gosh, my advice for aspiring writers, anybody who's watching today, I think I would say trust your voice. Write from a place of integrity and trust those experiences. Share your joys, share your heartaches, share any doubts and confusion that you feel, because that's honest. People when they're reading our books, they want honesty. They want someone they can relate to and through those characters. And so your unique perspective, that's what's going to make your story stand out.
Right.
So be honest, share from a place of integrity, and then be patient with the process. I was in such a hurry to sell my first book that I missed part of the journey. I missed part of the learning and the fun and the experience and the people that you meet along the way. All of that's part of it. And so, storytelling, it is both, it's a craft and a calling. You need to be called to be a writer.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of rejection that can come with it. And so being persistent is key. If you keep showing up to your computer, you keep showing up to the page, you stay curious, just never underestimate the power that your words can have to inspire and maybe to heal someone else's hurt.
Right. Well, and also you have to study. People think they can sit down and just write a book. Believe me, you can, it'll never sell, but go ahead. You have to study. When I first knew I was called to write, I wrote something that is stuck away somewhere and will never see the light of day. And then I found out I needed to study. So I took a year off, and that's what I did. I studied. I read books about writing, found out the craft of writing, which it is a craft. And it's like, I taught some classes on writing one time, and I said, you don't want to go to a doctor who doesn't have a degree. Well, it's the same way with writing. You need to study so that when you put something together, people are going to be, whether you're going for an agent or a publisher, that they'll be interested in. And if you don't know how to put it together like a good dish, if you don't know how to do it so that all the flavors come to life, then nobody will want it. And something else you said too that I think is interesting is people, and I'm sure you get this, people saying, well, which one of your characters are you like? And the answer is all of them.
All of them. I was just going to say, yes.
All of them. Yeah, we shine through those characters and those stories. And maybe, it's not just the good things, but the journey that we've had, whether it's a dark place or a hurtful place, that comes through. And so, like you said, being honest on the pages is extremely important. But study, be honest, work hard, don't give up. My goodness gracious. If I hadn't been patient, like you said, I would have given up, because I spent at least 5 years of rejections. And I have a file, I kept them. And so finally, God led me to the right agent. She led me to the right publisher. And that's how it happens. And I have to say something too. Susan Downs, who worked on this with us, is the woman who opened the door for me originally into publication. Can you believe that? And do you know that she's my editor now?
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Nancy,
all
your
these years.
experience and mine are so closely related. There's so many similarities. Susan bought my first book.
Really? Are you
Yes,
serious?
yes,
Mine was a
yes,
cozy mystery series for a
yes,
publisher. Yeah,
yes,
that's amazing.
yes.
Isn't
And when
she
you,
something?
yeah, and when you talked about taking a break, I did the same thing. Like I wrote a manuscript and I shot it off to, every publishing house I could think of and
Yeah.
got numerous form letter rejections. And but I thought I knew how to write. I studied, I was an English major in college and I thought I wanted to be a journalist. And so it took fiction as a whole different animal. And I
It
had to
is.
kind of unlearn some things, but as in the
Exactly.
process of learning to write fiction. So I did the same thing. I took a couple of years off. I started attending writers' conferences and workshops and just kind of relearning what I thought I knew and honing that craft, honing that skill. It was just so
Exactly.
important. And it was not a quick process. I was at a writers' conference when the Lord gave me Habakkuk chapter 2 verses 2 and 3.
Oh,
I had
write
been
it down.
just daydreaming stories and asking
Mhm.
God what to do with them and if this was the right path. And talking about a calling, he gave me, and like the verse says, and the Lord answered and said,
Mhm.
write the vision,
Vision
make it
down.
plain on
Yeah,
tablets, and then
right.
there's a part that I didn't like so much. I was real excited when he said write it, but then there was another part that said, though it tarries, wait for it. It is yet for an appointed time. And I
That's
did have to
wonderful.
wait. I
Yeah,
waited. I waited about almost 7 years before I
yeah.
sold my first book. But my husband, who has always been very supportive and incredibly encouraging, bought me a computer. We didn't have a laptop when I first started writing. We were using one of those ancient PCs that
Me
I know
too. Me
I know
too.
I'm dating myself, but anyway.
Me
And
too.
he bought me a laptop for Christmas, and we couldn't afford it. And so I was just like,
Oh,
why would you, why'd you do this? And he said,
wonderful.
because when you sell your first book, you're going to need it. And I'm like, oh, you think
Oh,
I'm going
what
to
a
sell
great
a book?
guy.
I know. I said, you think I'm going to sell a book? And he says, baby, you're too stubborn to give up. But
I
yeah,
hear you.
persistence is key.
Well, I'll make this fast, but when I first started trying to write, okay, I felt like it was something I was supposed to do. When I first tried it, I was like, I am not supposed to do this because I was just trying so hard just to get 3 pages. And then suddenly something happened. I said, try again, and it started to come. But I realized what it was going to take from my family if I was a writer. So I prayed. I said, God, I'm putting this in your hands. And he and I, since childhood, have had this thing about snow. And I was living in Wichita, Kansas at the time. And I said, if you want me to write, I need you to make it snow. And I mean, it was a fleece like everything. I said, during this week, it was in April. I
Oh,
did not know that there had not been measurable snow in Wichita in April for 40 years.
oh,
I
wow.
didn't know that. And the Friday of that week, it snowed 9 inches.
Oh my
So I
goodness.
said, okay, God. And I've never looked back. But
That's
you do
awesome.
need that reassurance from God. Like you said, a calling. It's so important. It's the only thing that keeps you going, I think.
I couldn't agree more. There's just so many challenges, and it is a business. Even when you write
It is.
Christian fiction, which is what you and I both do, there
Right.
are challenges, and it's a business, and it can be a very challenging business to be
It
a part
is.
of. But when you
It is.
know that that is your calling, then that makes all the difference.
And it makes the books more special too. And these books are
Agreed.
special to me because I know we were called to do them. And so, and I believe that you can, when people read them, I think they'll sense that, they'll feel that.
I agree. I agree. So speaking of you, like I said, you in your introduction, you've written so many books, but what do you think makes the Sugar Creek Amish mysteries different from other cozy mysteries that you've worked on?
Well, I think it isn't just the plot. And I'm a plotter, I love plots. But in these books, the characters are so rich and so relatable, and their journey is relatable. And I think that emotional part is something that strengthens the story, the series, and every single book. I love the characters. I believe the readers will love them. And they just became so special to me. and to other people who have written to me or emailed me as to how important they were. And like you said, going through something and being able to relate to Cheryl's journey. And that's what makes it special. And the plots are great. I love mystery. I love our plots, so that's an exciting part of the book. But the books are just so rich. They're so full of character and so full of human beings, that
Right.
readers will know and love.
Right, right. I 100%. I agree with you. Here's a little peek inside the process of writing for a continuity series like what this is. For every book, we had to write like a template. We filled out the story template, and one of the questions that we had to answer for that book was what was the internal lesson that the character was going to learn, what was the internal growth or something that, and I think that just adds a depth to these stories. There's this emotional spiritual element that's woven into each story. And I think, while many cozy mysteries, and Nancy, you've written several, and so have I, but cozy mysteries, it's more than just focusing on plots and clues and solving the case. It's the Sugarcreek Amish mysteries. There's always woven into every book, there's this theme of internal healing and faith-based growth. And I think that's what appeals to readers so much. There's just this sense of, when we've said it before, community and belief in God, and an emotional richness that readers just loved.
I also like the fact that Sugarcreek itself is almost a character in the books, so it's everything you said, plus that love for the town and how you feel almost like you're there.
Yeah.
I think that's something too. One funny thing I have to say is I did write the first book, and I love that I got to kind of create the characters and do things that help to set, the rest of the series. But I put the Swiss Miss in the wrong place. I shouldn't even admit that, but yeah, I put it in a place it shouldn't really be, and I didn't know that till I visited Sugarcreek. So, oops. But anyway, so readers ignore that part. If you go to Sugarcreek and you realize there's no way the Swiss Miss could have been where I put it. When I got there, I thought, uh-oh, but it doesn't matter anyway. I still think that the town itself is just so special.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you a question. For you, how does the book capture the spirit of the original town, especially in a modern world?
Okay. Well, I think we tried really hard to honor the people and of that community, like their values, their faith, their tradition. That it's such a close-knit community. I think that, while we were writing the books, we wanted to honor those things and also show that those ideals still matter today. I think more than ever, we're seeing how people want that a return to some of those ideals. We live in such a fast-paced world that I think those values offer people a sense of grounding, that they just desperately need. I think the themes of like love and belonging, and in Cheryl's case, starting over, those are things that they're just timeless, and they're like a gentle reminder to us that even in modern times, there can be beauty and strength in slowing down and in finding simplicity and just staying true to what matters most.
And I like what you said about simplicity. It's so true, because I think we just complicate things too much, and it can be a drain on us in our lives. And so seeing Sugarcreek and the characters there, I mean, you can't help but look at them and compare yourself with them and talk about the town and think, how can I carry those ideals into my own life? Absolutely. It's just part of what it is. And tell me something real quick. Your favorite character?
Oh, well, I loved Aunt Mitzi, and I loved the wisdom that she offered in her letters. I always looked forward to writing her character, but Cheryl was definitely my favorite. One of the things Cheryl struggles just a little bit with her weight in the books.
Yes,
and
she
I'm like,
does.
girl, I can relate.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Well, Nancy, this has just been so much fun. So,
Yes,
I want to thank you for taking the time. It's been such a pleasure to chat with you. But
you
to our
too.
viewers, to anyone watching, we just want to finish by saying, don't forget to watch the Sugarcreek Amish Mysteries movie, Blessings in Disguise, airing on Easter Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern time. And also, if you're interested in my book or Nancy's book or any of the Sugarcreek Amish Mysteries, you can visit shopguideposts.com and use discount code SugarCreek15, which will give you a 15% discount on any guidepost products. So
That's right.
take advantage of that.
There
Nancy,
you go.
it's been such a pleasure.
You too, honey.
And I cannot wait to spend some time with you as we, this when after the movie comes out, we'll talk and maybe
we will. After the movie is over, I'm going to send you a message.
Okay. Okay. Thanks again for joining us, everyone. We hope you have a wonderful Easter weekend, and thanks for visiting with us. Bye-bye.
Bye.